My name's Cale Foal and I'm a downhill racer from Australia. Well, we came over almost 4 months ago, got a rental van, been travelling around Europe racing the World Cups. I ride a YT and just getting everything prepped for Loudenvielle this week.
So tell me the preparation and everything that goes into spending 4 months in Europe, not being from Europe.
It was pretty tough, like lots of planning, organisation in Australia, getting the Airbnbs, the rental car all together, and then also the racing aspect of it, getting my bike sorted, trying to get product support over here from people like SRAM and DT has been awesome. So it's been a lot of figuring it out, but we've got it sorted pretty well now. Yeah, there's definitely a lot to do between race weekends, but I've got a pretty good mechanic dad here with me, so it's worked pretty well.
So can you tell me the setup in the rental van here?
We had at one point four bikes and 7 people, so we had to build a shelf to fit everything in. So we got the bikes strapped down along the top, and then we just chuck all the gear underneath. Cut some holes and got some straps to tie them down, some pieces of wood to hold the back wheels in, and then we just try and pack as much around it as we can.
So this is a rental van?
Yeah, this is a rental van we picked up in Lyon, France at the start of the season.
So you just get it back to factory settings when you return it and...
Yeah, actually we took out a few bolts in the sheet wood on the sides and put our own in. So in the end, I don't think we're going to leave any holes in it or anything. We just take a few bolts out either side and it's back to normal.
I'm Brad Blackwell. I'm Luke Meyer-Smith's mechanic for Giant Factory Off-Road DH. John's taking a look at my toolbox here, some one-off fabrication. So I have a Pelican 1535 Air. It's quite good for travel. It's nice and light. Three layers, and I like my my trays to be somewhat modular. So I don't like having to reach, under two trays to grab a tool. So my first 1, 2, 3 layers are easily accessible, and then more seldom used tools are on the bottom tray here. So my brake bleeding, wheel building, cutting, that sort of thing. And then all my bits are easily accessible. Then I have a cool little hidden compartment back here. These 2 trays are connected, so when I pull them out of my box or put them in my box, they come out together. And then depending on where I am, I can lay them out flat so I have everything all together, or I kind of like them angled like this. So all my German Nipex tools are easily accessible.
So what have we got here?
We got a Gamuk Sega bike. They're freshly, we take them out first time from Andorra. Like they're pretty set up for practice later this week.
So can you tell me about the development of this bike and how it's so much different than a normal bike?
I guess you guys saw this bike first time was 2020, 2021 in Leger. And since then, a lot was going on the bike. Now it's black. First one was like silver, raw aluminium. We're still on aluminium. This one's anodized, so we can a little bit like work with some material internally. The biggest change we have this year is a belt drive. We partnered up with carbon drive, Gates carbon drive. This is something like we've been working with the UCI and Gates together to get it like confirmed, so we are able to ride it in the World Cup. It was written like it must be a chain-driven drivetrain until I guess like November, December last year, and now we have it like in the rule books and that we can run belts. It's one of the most quiet bikes in the paddocks, and also if you listen to like all the commentary on live streams, mostly they're talking about the bike, how quiet it is and how supple it rides down the track. We partnered up with Pinion also a couple years ago because for us having like the drivetrain in a box without derailleur, without cassette, to reduce unsprung weight is like the way to go. The weight is around like 19 kilograms. Depends a little bit like the setup. If you want to build a light Sego bike, you might be around like 18 kilograms, but our race bike's around like 19 kilograms, more or less. Special thing was pinion. We received earlier this year the first smart shift, like electronic shifting. As you can see, it's like a nice trigger. This one's a little bit trimmed, so if the riders want to shift up or down, they don't get stuck on one of those both triggers. On the other side, you have the smart shift unit. This is like the electronic box where like all the impulses are made. One nice thing with gearbox and with smart shift with pinion is you can shift while coasting, you can shift while freewheeling, you can shift wherever you want. We are running like a 6-gear gearbox, and there are like most of the gears, like 5 out of 6 you can shift on the load. So there's just one gear where you just need to take a little bit of weight off the pedals or be a bit more like careful when you're shifting, but the rest you can shift on the load. And so you always know I'm in the right gear without like pedaling or anything.
Yeah, so we're in Loudenvielle, and this is Simon Chapelet's downhill bike that was custom painted for Worlds in Fort Bill. Tango, the mechanic over there, is just basically getting the bike ready for riding this weekend. So yeah, just going through the bike and making sure it's all working.
Yeah, tell me about the floating brake arm. Is that what it's known as?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So this is supposed to isolate brake forces from the suspension. So normally if you pull on the rear brake, it can make the suspension basically lock out. You can either make the back of the bike squat or extend. So this floating brake arm just basically helps the back end to remain active under braking. So you know you can track the ground and just have better control. Yeah, like Andorra is a really good example. That's quite a steep track, and I think the bottom part of here is going to be really steep as well. So yeah, it just allows you just to track the ground, so you get better grip from the back wheel, so you're not going to skid. So yeah, you can slow down better, and just the bike will just handle much better.
My name's Lewis. I'm a mechanic for Resolute Racing. I'm working on Caleb Parton's bike at the moment. Stripped it down so it's got all new frame bearings. We go through them probably, well, at least a couple of them once around, but doing a full swap this time because it's been 1 or 2 races. So changed them before champs, so it's just getting them done now. The rest of it's all done. Headsets fresh in it as well. We go again eating them probably once every 2 or 3 rounds. Bottom bracket is actually okay this time, which is a first for us. Normally we're again once a race getting them swapped out. Just finished off a bleed, got fresh pads in there and a fresh full bleed through. The brake sets are pretty much brand new, but as far as the rest of it goes, position wise we kind of run it effectively the same until we kind of know more about the track, and same with the pressures and stuff. We've actually changed the pit setup a little bit from when we were first doing it. We found it was a little bit better this way, where I'm kind of separated from everyone to stop people annoying me. But we've also got a fresh new bench that we definitely took out with us. We haven't definitely stolen from here. But yeah, no, it's a good setup. Nice place for the bikes, and yeah, it's neat.
So this is Cade Edwards' signature bike, if you like to call it that. So each rider this year gets a race where they have their own custom bike, custom kit. Send some mood boards and some ideas to Trek 100%, and this is the result. So yeah, it's a pretty, well, it's Cade in it, it's Cade all over, it's jazzy and a bit out there. But just, yeah, the detail and the work in it's all done by hand by the guy at Trek at Project One, so that's pretty awesome. And then yeah, the 100% kit as well to Max. Yeah, you'll be able to see him coming this week, I think.
Yeah, we've been going over some suspension stuff throughout the year, but brakes they're tricky. Just like suspension, it's really unique. A lot of different preferences, a lot of different rider feedback, a lot of different setups. I think like we're fortunate we have the Code Ultimate Stealth brake, which has performed incredibly well, and we're definitely always in constant development with other new brakes and stuff. And downhill, your brake setup and maintenance and just general kind of going through, we learned last week in Andorra, like changing conditions doesn't necessarily mean you're going to change your brake setup 100%, but it does highlight that your brakes really need to work, and it's one of those kind of preventative maintenance things. It's definitely something that here at the SRAM truck we don't typically like full service brakes as much as team mechanics will. So any privateer that has a SRAM brake or anything, will obviously help them out and try to bleed and give them some pointers and tips. But team mechanics and team mechanic and athlete relationships, they develop into their routine of what works for them. Even the most basic thing like brake angle and reach, you don't want to mess with a rider. They spend a lot of time getting used to where they want the brakes and how they want them to feel. It's one of those like components on the bike that you want to start off real fresh and have a good chance to get through the whole seat-in, qualifying, practice, everything. If you can on a set of brakes that you trust, and go from there.
So we're with current World Cup leaders, bike leader Finn's bike.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how the development of it is going.
Well, still going pretty well. We keep getting raw data from every races, try to improve all the time, but we're getting there. We have a really good product. Obviously, the bike is working super well, and we can adapt the bike really well in every kind of condition, which is good. There's a cool stuff that we never reached the limit of that bike yet, so which is really good because when the rider go fast, the bike actually go faster, which is something that we are kind of not used to it, because at some point when the rider go that fast, you kind of start to have some weird feeling about like weird bike feeling feedback. But with this weapon, actually, it's not how it is. So we have to find some really, we have to try to make them faster, just to try to reach that level of the bike where we may have issue, and we can work on that to make these things better. But we're so happy. Like I think we really have an advantage with this new prototype. So we're getting the best of it.
So talk about the tire setup this week. It looks like there's going to be a little bit of rain. Huh?
Yeah, like the dirt is like, it's a pure dirt, like the brown dirt, soft. So if it's gonna rain, we might have the option of a mud tire. So I'm still waiting until I know that it has been like really dry there. So the ground is dry, but so it can rain. But I don't know for how many times. So I'm gonna be all set up in case of any situation, like all the time. But yeah, I will have few options for this week for sure, in terms of suspension and tires too.